Hi guys, welcome back to the Makeup Hunter. So today I am going to be continuing on with my whole collection series, taking a deep dive into my makeup collection so we can see how I am starting 2022 off. I am aware we are now into February, but obviously I have a lot of makeup to get through, and I still want to film these videos and I still want to have them up so I can look back and see where I started with my collection at the beginning of 2022. I have posted some previous videos where I've discussed my goals as far as my collection and my consumption of beauty products. Basically, this year I am focusing more on using what's in my collection, discovering the things that I love, the things that I don't like, doing some very strategic declutters. I'm also doing some project pans and I'm going to be doing monthly shop my stashes. So having these videos up where I can look at how my collection is at the start of 2022 is really helpful. I probably won't be decluttering much. Over these videos up to now I've only decluttered one item, and that is because I did a big declutter in December myself off camera. So you know, I'm pretty happy with how my collection is at the moment, but if there is anything as I'm going through that I think I'm happy to let that go, then I will. One of my goals for like my collection going forward is to be very strategic when it comes to declutters. There are things that I've let go of in the past that I kind of wished I'd have kept hold of, and I'm not into this sort of, massive collection declutter, 50% gone, that sort of thing, just because I've spent my own money on this makeup, or it's been bought for me as gifts from family and partners, so I don't want to be wasteful. So with all that being said, if you'd like to see what is in my highlighter collection, powder and cream, then please do keep watching. If you like this kind of content and you've been enjoying having a look at my makeup collection, then please do subscribe to my channel, give me a like, leave me a comment, and let's get on with the video. Thanks guys. Okay, so this is the drawer that I keep all of my highlights in. I do have a few highlight palettes. I mentioned in my powder blush and powder bronzer collection video that I have highlighters in the face palettes that I keep in my blush and bronzer drawer, but they are ones that are more like blush or bronzer heavy, whereas these ones are specifically highlight palettes, or they have equal blush and highlights. So that's just how I've got it split up. So what I'm going to do is go through the palettes first of all, then we'll do creams, and then we'll do highlights. Okay, so these are my highlighters that are in a palette form. So for the first palette that I'm going to talk about is this Colourpop palette. I don't keep this with my highlighters. This is actually kept with my eyeshadows, my eyeshadow singles, because it is majority eyeshadows. These are all Colourpop products, but I do have this one highlight in here, which is Angel Food by Colourpop, which is just a pink toned highlight. This has been in my shop my stash for January. I haven't yet filmed my next Shop My Stash, so this one is still in my Shop My Stash rotation. Also in my Shop My Stash rotation is my Ofra Feeling Myself palette. This is just a trio of Ofra's most popular shades. So we have Blissful, Pillow Talk and Rodeo Drive. I used to be a huge fan of a really blinding, super bright highlight. The icier the better, and I also really loved, like, my favourite were like pinky toned highlights. As I've got older and trends are also changing, I've started to favour a much more subtle highlight. I have decluttered most of the Ofra highlighters from my collection, but I have kept hold of this one and a couple of others. This one is super handy for travel because it's, you know, it's got 3 different tones in, and also I do find, even though these are super duper blinding, they are quite customizable. If you go in with a really light hand and you really polish the pearls, they can look really lovely. In January I have been going for the shade Rodeo Drive a lot, you know, taking this sort of pretty light gold champagne shade, but I've been using a tiny amount and really buffing it into the skin, and it's been working really nicely. So that is that one. Then I have one that is super old, and I probably should have got rid of it, well, both of these long ago, but I can't quite bring myself to get rid of them. So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. This one, again, it's not particularly my taste anymore because these powders are very glitter heavy. I'm not sure whether you can see in this shade Kitty Cat here. There is a lot of like sparkle fallout on your face when you use these, but I just love these. I've got really good memories of using the palette. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It still performs as it always has done. The texture's not changed or anything like that. And I do really love this palette. They did re-release this one, and I perhaps should have got rid of this one and got a new one, but like I say, there's nothing wrong with this one, and when I remember to put it in a Shop My Stash, I do really enjoy using it. And then similar to the original Sun Dipped Glow Kit from Anastasia Beverly Hills, this one I can't use 2 out of the 4 shades in this, but I can make it work. I tend to mix these deeper ones with the lighter one Summer, and I do like the shade Bronzed as like a bronzer topper. Again, these are, you know, the formula of them is exactly the same as it's always been. The powders are super soft. It's just these super bright, blinding, shimmery highlights just aren't my preference anymore, but I just can't quite bring myself to get rid of it. So that's those. And then one that this one has 3 blushes and 3 highlights in. This is the Glowing in Grease palette from BH Cosmetics from their travel series. This is a really pretty palette, and one that I haven't had all that long, and I haven't really given it, you know, much love. I've actually only used out of the highlighters this shade Olympia, but these are really blinding, really beautiful. I find the BH Cosmetics powder formula is so good for a, you know, really affordable brand. The blushes are super pigmented and really pretty. So yeah, it's just it's a great option for like a drugstore, more affordable brand. And then the newest, I think probably one of the newest highlighters in my collection is this little Dior palette. This is the Backstage Glow Face palette in the shade Rose Gold, and this is gorgeous. These are a baked gelée formula, which is one of my favourite formulas for powder products. Some of them are more like glittery than others. These two are a more subtle like formula than these two here, but I there's quite a few different shades in these palettes, but I found this one to be the most unique to my collection. I can use this shade here as a highlight or draped across as a blush topper, but they're just stunning. Dior is one of my absolute favourite brands. And this one is a super special addition to my collection. Okay, and these are all my cream and liquid highlighters. This is where I have some real standout favourites. But there are some of these that I want to kind of have a look at a little bit closer and see if I do want to keep them or get rid of them. So the first one here, and one I'm definitely not getting rid of, is my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Spotlight Wand, Beauty Light Wand in the shade Pillow Talk. This is the like pinky gold shade. It's super pretty, and I absolutely love the formula of just checking it was locked of these Beauty Light ones. It's just the packaging's not the absolute best, but yeah, really love that one. Another one I really enjoy is the Vive Skinju. I haven't actually used this one too much yet, but I do really like the formula and the colour of this. This is like a universal shade. She did only bring the one out, and it looks like it would be too dark when you first apply it to my skin, but when you blend it out it just adds like a lovely like golden glow. So yeah, absolutely love those two. Then we have one of the newer ones to my collection is the Danessa Myricks Vision Flush in the shade Tiara. This is a beautiful light champagne gold. These are super pigmented. You only need a really small amount. They go lovely over the top of other makeup, and they do set down. Like they do dry down, they don't stay sticky on the skin. So that is one that is a definite favourite. Two other huge favourites, probably all-time favourite when it comes to cream highlight, is the Dominique Cosmetics Skin Glosses. I have the shades Sunset Glow, which is this lovely like corally peach shade, but it does work as a highlight on my skin tone because it blends sort of away into just a glow. And then the one that started my love affair with these is the shade Glossy Peach. When you first place them down, they do have quite a bit of pigment, but when you blend them out, they just leave a slight hint of colour and a gorgeous glossy glow. You can build them up to be more like, to show more of that base colour. But I just think these are so gorgeous and they're so comfortable on the skin. Another one that I got at the same time as the Vision Flush is the Danessa Myricks Dew Wet Balm, and this is in the shade Rose Water. This is a face gloss, but it's a stunning formula. It's very similar to the Dominique Cosmetics. Really comfortable for somebody like me who has dry skin. These are so comfortable. I like wearing these the most in the summer, when I don't sort of set my face as much. I like to leave my face looking quite like glass skin like. This one, again, it can be built up to have more base pigment. If you want to, you could wear this as a blush topper because it has that pinky hue, but using just a small amount, it just leaves that lovely like wet look sheen to the skin. Those are my favourite kind of highlighters in the summer months. One that is very different, and one that I don't really, it's not my preference anymore, is the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb, and this is in the shade How Many Carats. This is the original one. This is like a putty formula, and I think it's stunning. I really do think it's a beautiful product, but it's just not my preference for a highlighter anymore. It is like super glittery. It's just basically pure sparkle. But what I do think this will be perfect for, especially for the type of makeup that I like to wear, is actually to use as like an eyeshadow topper. I can't bring myself to get rid of it because it's such a beautiful product. I love the formula, I love the colour, I love everything about it, just not for what its intended use is. So I am going to keep it, but definitely will be trying it out as an eyeshadow topper. And then I have a couple that are very similar to each other. So I have the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in the shade Pearl, and then the Chanel Universal Balm in the shade Transparent. So these are literally a transparent balm highlighter, but if you look really, really closely, they do have a slight iridescent sheen to them. And like I say, in the summer months, these are my favourite type of highlighters. The Fenty Pearl is my favourite out of the two. It has a really unique formula. It looks almost wet, like wet plastic, but on the skin it's so pretty. Really, you probably can't see much of anything, but over the top of makeup, it looks incredible. So effective, so pretty. I absolutely love them. Then I have my two nude sticks, nudies all over face colours or face highlight. So I've got the shades Illuminati and Bubbly Baby. Bubbly Baby is that typical like champagne-y gold, very similar to these others up here. Again, this is a gorgeous formula, same as the blushes and bronzers in this line. They're really easy to use, really easy to blend out. I don't have a bad thing to say about them. Illuminati is a more unusual shade. It's similar to the Fenty one in that it looks kind of like wet plastic. It has like an iridescent pearly base to it. In fact, it is very, very similar to Fenty Pearl, but this one perhaps has a bit more like of that iridescent pigment in it. So love those two. One I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to keep is this Glossier Haloscope in the shade Quartz. I do really love this product, but I never ever reach for it. It's very greasy, this one is. And I just think I have ones that I like a little bit better than that. So I think I am going to pass that one on. And then one that again is a really nice formula, really easy to use, is the Beauty Pie Day Glow Multi-Stick. This is similar to the Glossier one, but has a little bit more of a champagne-y pigment and is much more of a drier formula. The Glossier one does feel quite sticky and greasy, whereas the Beauty Pie one feels much drier. I'm aware that these are highlighters and you can't see a huge amount, but yeah, I'm definitely keeping that one. Okay, just had to make a little bit of space on my arm. So one that I'm definitely not going to be getting rid of is the Chanel Leblanc Rosy Light Drops. This is one of their liquid highlighters. This feels like skincare on the skin. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's great to use tapped on top of makeup as a liquid highlight, mixed in with foundations to add more of a glow, as a primer. It's absolutely stunning, and it's one that when I use it, I know I'm using makeup, but it feels like it's doing something good for my skin, which is so strange to say. But yeah, this is a really beautiful product. I would love to pick up some of the shades in that. And then I have one of my favourites, one of my most surprising products is the Beauty Pie Triple Luminizer. This is like a gel kind of formula, super sticky, but really, really gorgeous. The colour's perfect. It blends really nicely over the top of the products if you kind of just like tap it on with your fingers. It's a lovely colour. It's not in your face, it's not super blinding. It really is more of, as it's described, a luminizer rather than like a traditional super bright blinding highlight. Really, really nice, and you get such a ton of product in here, you know, for how much you actually use. And then finally I have my Colourpop light sticks. Now I have whittled these down quite a bit. I did get rid of quite a few of these. My mum loves these, so she had quite a few off me. And I do want to swatch these just to make sure that I do still want to keep all of these. So I've got the shades Ueno, I think is how you pronounce it. That's beautiful. I definitely want to keep that one. Then we have the shade Earth, spelt with a U. That's also beautiful. That's got more of like a pinky peach shift. Then I've got the shade Bullseye. That one is more of a gold. I do have quite a lot of that sort of tone. Not sure about that one. And then I've got the shade Star Bright. This is like Flexitarian, if you're familiar with that, but in a stick form. Yeah, looking at those, I think I am going to get rid of Bullseye actually. I think it's just a little bit too gold for what I'm into these days. So those are all my creams. I'm now going to lay out all of my powder highlights. Okay, so let's get through some of these powder highlights. Surprise little declutter on the creams there. Wasn't expecting that, but there you go. I feel really good about the products that the two products that I decluttered. And I know for a fact that my mum is going to absolutely love both of those. So out of these powder highlighters, I have some absolute standout faves that I 100% you know I won't be decluttering, and I just love them. They are some of my favourite products in my collection as a whole. So first off is the Revlon Skin Lights highlighter. This was an absolute surprise for 2021. This blew me out of the water. I really wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I bought this and the bronzer. I do love the bronzer as well, but the highlighter is just stunning. It's supposedly a dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Rosy highlighter, which is one that I've always wanted but I've never been able to get my hands on. So having this one is, is a great substitute, and I absolutely love it. It's so finely milled. It's a baked gelée powder, so it buffs into the skin really beautifully. It doesn't leave any like glitter fallout, or it's not super texture enhancing. It's just a really gorgeous formula, and for a really affordable price. It's in the shade Daybreak Glimmer. I think they do have another shade which is a little bit of a deeper tone, which I may potentially in the future pick up if it's not too deep a shade for me, because I just love this one so much. I'd love to try it in other tones. Another absolute favourite is my Makeup Forever Profusion highlighter, and this is in the shade number 1. This is the Pro Light Fusion. This has a pinky sheen to like a pinky flip to it, but it's not sort of an obnoxiously pink shade. Again, this is a baked gelée formula. It's so pretty on the skin. Again, everything I said pretty much about the Skin Lights is the same with this one. It's just a slightly different tone. Really, really gorgeous. And then some other baked gelée favourites. We have my MAC. These are the Extra Dimension highlighters. This one is in the shade Soft Frost. Now this one used to be my favourite kind of highlighter, one with sort of like an unusual flip to it. This is kind of like a bluey lilac shift. And while it's not my preference any longer, I do absolutely adore this formula. So can't quite bring myself to declutter it, because as I've discovered previously, my tastes do change, and things that I declutter I've like brought back into my collection, or I've wished I didn't declutter them, so on and so forth. So I can't quite bring myself to get rid of this one, although it's not one that I reach for very often these days. Two that I do reach for often are this one, which is the shade Beaming Blush. This one is a stunning rose gold. And then my absolute favourite, the shade Double Gleam, which is that beautiful traditional like light champagne-y shade. These are gorgeous. They really are a beautiful formula. It's that baked gelée thing again. Then we've got the Christian Dior. This is one of the newest highlights to my collection and made it into my favourite products of 2021. This is in the shade Golden Gleam, is it? Golden Glow, sorry. And it's like, this is a really unusual highlight shade. It looks straight up like tangerine orange, but when you get it onto the skin, it just leaves a lovely peachy gold, and because it is that baked gelée formula, it just buffs into the skin. It doesn't leave too much of a cast. It's just a really gorgeous product. I definitely want to pick up the shade Nude Glow in this formula, but I'm on a no buy if you didn't know, so I'm not picking up anything at the moment. Then we have the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Star highlighter. This is another baked gelée product. Gorgeous embossing on here. It was a limited edition highlighter. Everything I said about those others is the same with this one. The formula is just really beautiful, not super texture enhancing. This one is a little bit deeper, and I do have to be careful with this one or it can leave a bit of a cast on my skin. But if I just use a small amount and I'm strategic with where I place it, like for instance over my bronzer, it works fine. And then we have another baked one. This was one my mum gave me, and again, this isn't one that is particularly my preference anymore. It's that shade. It has like pretty much every shade you could imagine in it. Like, there you go, you can see it there. Green, blue, pink, purple. It's a gorgeous highlighter, gorgeous formula, and one that I'm not ready to lose out of my collection. Same with this one from MAC. I love everything about it, it's just the colour isn't my preference these days. Okay, and one that I don't use very often, I did have a lot of the Jeffree Star, what are these called? Skin Frosts. I did have a lot of the shades of this when I, was a fan of his and was a fan of his brand, but have since lost all interest in the creator and the brand, and I've decluttered most of the products from my collection. But I did keep this one because I felt at the time that I didn't have anything, any other shades like it in my collection. It is the shade Siberian Gold. It's like a soft gold highlight. But looking at it now, the formula is not my favourite anymore. It's quite a thick powder. And I think it is similar in colour to this one from Charlotte Tilbury, which I much prefer. Yeah, they're pretty much on the money. I much prefer the formula of the Charlotte Tilbury, so I am going to let Siberian Gold go. So I'm happy about that one. Looking up close at those two swatches, the colours are so similar, but you can just see that the formula of the Charlotte Tilbury is so much more smooth and nice, whereas this one looks a bit thick and chunky. So I'm happy about that. And then I've got my 2 box highlighters from Benefit. These are so bright and blinding, but really beautiful. I really do like the formula of these. So we've got Cookie, which is a light icy champagne, and then Tickle, which is a gorgeous rose gold shade. I don't reach for these enough, but they are so pretty. Definitely not getting rid of those. And then I have my 2 Ofra. These are the only Ofra like full-size highlighters that I kept. The other ones I had were like the blue tint and the pink tint, that sort of thing. So I kept the shades Star Island and Glazed Donut. Glazed Donut is the Nikki Tutorials collab. So this is the shade Star Island. Let's do it up here. I mean, you can see that's so bright and blinding. But I do like the shades of these 2 that I've kept. And as long as I use a really light hand, I can make them work for my preferences. And this one is the shade Glazed Donut, which is quite similar but a bit more silvery and way more bright and blinding. And then I have my 2 sparklers from Inglot. This is the soft sparkler and the medium sparkler. Is that right? Yes, soft sparkler and medium sparkler. I've got the shades 52 in the soft sparkler and 33 in the medium sparkler. These are beautiful, and they are, as they're described, they are a more sparkly formula. They do have that, you know, more of that PC but very finely milled shimmer through. I'm not sure if you can see. You can see like the dust around the outside, but these are so pretty, really really lovely on the skin. So that is the shade in the soft sparkler, and then this one is the medium, and this one is slightly chunkier, and you can feel it when you touch the powders. Not sure whether you can see the difference. This one is much more finely milled than this one. Okay, and then my last 2 from MAC. So I have Soft and Gentle and Gold Deposit. Now, Soft and Gentle, this is old in my collection. This is the original packaging. It's now in this packaging. This is just a classic. This was like the first highlighter. It's what I feel got everybody started on, you know, the whole strobing and highlighting trend. It's a beautiful bake formula. It's such a lovely, universally flattering colour. It's more on the subtle side as highlighters go, which at the moment is my preference. I do prefer a much softer highlighter. Soft and Gentle is the perfect name for it. Gold Deposit is too deep for my complexion, but the reason I got this was to use as a bronzer topper. So this is really a holiday product for me. This is a product that I would take with me if I was going abroad, if I was going somewhere like sunny, beachy, that kind of thing, and I would, you know, dust this across the more bronzy areas of my skin. So like where I've got a bit of a tan, or I've applied quite a lot of bronzer, just dusted on those certain areas. So whilst it's definitely too deep for me, I do keep it for those certain looks and certain occasions. And then finally, from this these few, we have my Becca highlighters. So these I just bought a little trio pack of minis, and these are like the famous shades. So you've got Opal, Moonstone and Champagne Pop. So Moonstone and Champagne Pop, and these really are the hype is real when it comes to Becca highlighters, in my opinion. Champagne Pop is probably my favourite highlighter of all time. I absolutely love it, and I really wish that I'd picked up bigger sizes. I know that you can still get these via Smashbox, but I still have plenty of these left. So this is the shade Opal. Then we have Moonstone, and my favourite, which is Champagne Pop. This is one that, again, it could be a bit too dark for me on certain occasions if I'm not careful, but I can definitely make it work. And they're just like a Goldilocks product. They're not too blinding and in your face. They're not too subtle. They're not chunky in any way. They're a really nice soft powder. They're just really, really beautiful. And then lastly, all that's left in my highlighter collection is my Fenty highlighters and my loose highlighters. Okay, and these are the last highlighters in my collection. So we have my Fenty Kilowatts, and then I have my only two loose highlighters are the Inglot. These are the Sparkling Dust for face, eyes and body. So I'll start with these Inglot ones first of all. So I've got the shades 1 and 2. So 1 is more of a nude gold, like a, well, I don't know whether you'd call it a gold, like a nude champagne, and then 2 is more of a gold. These are absolutely stunning. They're so blinding. I haven't opened this one, shade 1, but when I had my makeup done in the Inglot store, when I bought most of my Inglot stuff, the artist used this on me, and they're so beautiful. And because they're a loose powder, you can use them kind of all over the body. This is the shade number 2, and I've got a little bit on the powder puff, so I'll just show you what this looks like. So it is more like sparkly, so there are smaller and slightly larger like sparkly pigments in there. Pigment particles is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to see, but the way I like to use these is I like to spray my face with setting spray and then just use a small highlight brush, dip in, and then just sort of buff the product into the skin, and it's just so pretty. You can take more of a fluffy brush and like dust it across the chest and the shoulders and things like that if you wanted to, but I like to use these, as I said, like on my face. And then we have my Fenty highlighters. So I have quite a few of them here. I do absolutely love this formula, and I really like the idea of the split pan ones. So this is the shade Girl Next Door and Chic Freak, and I really love the idea that you have like a more subtle one and then a more like sparkly intense version. I love this one. This one could run a little bit too deep for me if I'm not careful with how I apply it, but I still just love these shades. I think they're so pretty, especially in the spring and summer, because they're that like more pinky rose gold kind of shade. So pretty, so underrated really. I don't hear, I think they were hyped up when they very first came out, but then like nobody seems to talk about them, but I think they're really lovely. Then we've got the shade Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. This is the most popular one. It's like the lightest one. And again, so pretty. This one is quite a like universally flattering shade because it's not super icy. And as you can see, the subtle ones are like really my vibe at the moment. Then the one I've used the most, this is Mean Money and Hustler Baby. This one has more of a warmth to it. And then the last one, oh sorry, those are my only split pans, and then I have these two. These are the Kilowatt Foils, is it what they call them? No, just Kilowatt. So these are the super sparkly ones. So I've got the shades What a Brat and Chills. So What a Brat is currently all over TikTok at the moment. I've had mine for quite a while. It's a super sparkly pink highlighter that on me is lovely as a blush topper. And as I say, this isn't really my current vibe, but I think it's so pretty, and I just can't bring myself to declutter it. I mean, look at that, that's just something else. So yeah, not ready to declutter that. This one is one that I kind of regret buying. It is a blue flip, and again it's super sparkly. Definitely not something I'm into these days, but I just can't get rid of it. I really can't. You know, there may be a day that I want a blue flip highlighter, and you know, I'll be thinking to myself, damn, I wished I'd have kept Chills from Fenty. I mean, I love swatching it. I think it's just so pretty, but not something that I'm wanting to plaster all over my face at the moment. So no more to declutter today. So that is all of my powder highlights and cream highlights. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do hope you are enjoying this series. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more from me. Next up, I think I'm probably going to be moving on to like the miscellaneous section of my collection. So things like mascaras, lip liners, eyeliners, brow products, that sort of thing. Probably a bit boring to some people, but a lot of essential products amongst those categories. So thank you for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. Do leave me a comment if you fancy it. I love chatting to you all in the comments section. Keep loving yourself, guys. I really do hope that you're looking after yourself, however that may be and whatever that may look like, whether it's just taking your meds, drinking your water, you know, having a spa weekend, whatever that looks like for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.